Oh, yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. You had better. Get them up, get them going. It's Thursday on Hook 'em Up with Ian Rod B. Our 5-hour morning by morning sports conversation begins right now on this 16th of November. We have a lot to talk about. Longhorns prepping for their trip to Ames, Iowa. Game number 11 of a 12-game regular season. A lot to talk about. Subplots there. The big weekend of college football kicks off tonight. Also, NFL Week 11 kicks off tonight with a doozy. Heck of a game in Baltimore where the Ravens will host the Cincinnati Bengals in a very important AFC North contest. We got news from the NFL, obviously, as we crank it up, and certainly a wonderful heck of a day for Texas basketball yesterday. We'll dive into the big day for Rodney Terry and the Horns. Got a win on the floor and a huge win off the floor. As far as the future of the program goes, we'll dive into that as well. It's going to be a great Thursday. Weather has been spectacular this week. Hope you're enjoying that somehow. Get out and put the top down, roll the windows down, eat outside, have lunch, whatever you're doing. Hope you're enjoying sunny and 70 or 72 to be exact. About as good as it gets this week in Austin, Texas, and that's leading us into a big weekend, which starts right now here on 101.9 AM 1260, also streaming on the Horn app, of course, at hornfm.com. Always streaming for you there, and at the website, hornfm.com. Ty Henderson, our producer, has informed me that they're also streaming on our YouTube channel and on, not on Twitch, but on the YouTube channel, so you can listen on YouTube. Nice. If you're used to going there and watching and being a part of it, you can hear it. We don't have our cameras working yet, but you can still go listen. So I want to keep it as regular as possible as we come to you live from the South Austin Onion Creek studios once again, and we crank up a Thursday. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot to do. 5 hours begins right now, and look who it is across the room. He is our shutdown corner from the 713, DB High down there. Also DBU and the 512 right here in Austin, Texas, a lifetime Longhorn if there ever was one, or number 21 in your program. But number one in our hearts, he's our shutdown corner. He is our football theorist. He's the proud papa of Baby Monroe. He is our man, Rod Babers. What's up, Rod?
Hey, what's up, brother? How are you? I appreciate the
rolling in right on time as usual.
Yeah, and I appreciate
door unlocked, and let's go.
That's right. I also appreciate the hospitality as always here at the home studios, and as we do every morning, let's give a shout out to those who serve. Of course, we can't thank them enough, but we appreciate all of those who serve in any capacity, God, country, or community. Our society built on the selflessness of service, so we appreciate each and every one of you. We know you're up early with us doing God's work, so we appreciate that. Soldiers, first responders, teachers, nurses, all of you out there. We can't name all of you because there are too many of you, but we want you to know that you are first on our minds in the morning. We appreciate you.
First and foremost, no doubt about that, cranking this thing up on a Thursday. And, yeah, big football weekend. You said yesterday at the end of the show you're gonna make an appointment to watch this Ravens Bengals game tonight. Get some good food, crank it up, awesome. And go about 7 o'clock. Good football, man. We got really good primetime games this weekend. I mean, the Sunday game's not the best, but it's Broncos and Vikings with Josh Dobbs, one of the great stories of the football season so far. But tonight, Ravens, Bengals, and then Monday night, Chiefs, Eagles from Arrowhead Stadium, the rematch of the Super Bowl.
You never get Thursday night games that are this good. Can't think of the last time we had a Thursday night game that was this good.
Maybe the start of the season, right? When you had Chiefs, Lions, right? That was the first game of the year.
It might be it because it just they seem like they're always duds. This is far from that. It might end up being a dud, but at least the anticipation is that these are two. And where the Bengals are, I don't say it's a must win for them, but they have no shot at all of winning the division at all if they lose this game. Pretty much because they've taken a lot of losses in division already, and I believe they're playoff hopes too. Because considering how competitive the AFC is, they're going to be tenuous if they don't win this game too. So there's a lot on the line for the Bengals. The Ravens, I mean, they should have won like 2 games this year that they ended up losing. That game to the Steelers, that was in Division 2, and this game versus the Browns in Division. So for both of these teams, considering they've taken losses in the division, they were unexpected. Slow start for the Bengals, and then we just saw the Ravens have been starting like gangbusters, but taking losses in the division.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a crucial game for both teams, obviously, because every game, the Bengals had been red hot, and then the Texans went in and beat them with C.J. Stroud's great performance. But, yeah, you've given the stats, Rod. Baltimore 7-3, but
they should be 10-0.
Yeah, they should be 10-0. I mean, shoulda, coulda, wouldas in football. We know about that, but they very well could be. And as you said, the teams who have put up numbers like they have as far as dominance, there are like 5 teams in the last 40 years that have done what they've done as far as yards per game, offense, defense, and the metrics. And those other 4 teams were 10-0. at this point of the year. They're 7-3 because they've kind of given some games away. You give the Browns credit for coming back and beating them last week in Baltimore, but now Deshaun Watson's out for the year. They're going to turn to Dorian Thompson-Robinson there in Cleveland. That's a sad situation or mess of a situation for the Browns. But Baltimore 7-3, Pittsburgh and Cleveland 6-3, Cincinnati 5-4. And you're right about the Bengals. They fall to 5-5. Kind of like the Bills. I mean, they're getting tenuous now. Baltimore, though, has been dominant at home. So good football game. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. It's a good thing to look forward to get your Thursday cranking up, and we'll certainly look forward to it.
Yep.
We'll also get to the Longhorns, and let's get to the headlines, though. Start the hour, and this 6 o'clock hours we do each. Get you caught up on the news of your Thursday morning. Top Gun Rentals and Lawn Equipment bring you the news, and we'll start with college basketball this morning, and a tremendous day and night for the Texas basketball program yesterday. On the floor, Rodney Terry and his 19th-ranked Longhorns shot a season-best 60% from the floor, got double-digit efforts from Tyrese Hunter, Caden Shedrick, and Max Asmus on their way to a win over Rice, 80-64. Hunter, the returning guard, led the way with 18. The two newcomers, Shedrick had 15, Max Asmus had 13. Horns improved to 3-0. Earlier in the day, though, yesterday, the Longhorns earned a massive recruiting win when Trey Johnson, the number 4 overall prospect in the 2024 industry rankings, committed to Texas. 6'5" scoring machine had narrowed his schools of choice down to Texas and Baylor. And on the final day of the early signing window being open, he joined the Pat McAfee show on ESPN yesterday to announce where he was headed.
Trey, if you would like to let the world know where you will be taking your incredible talents next year, we would be honored to be in your presence while doing so.
Yes, sir. I'll be going to the University of Texas.
There you go. Johnson, the highest-rated guard to commit to Texas since Avery Bradley back in 2009. He helped lead Dallas Lake Highlands to a 6A state championship last year as a junior. He's playing his senior year at the Link Academy in Missouri. Johnson and his family have had a long-standing relationship with Rodney Terry, the Longhorn head coach. That dates back to when Terry was an assistant coach at Baylor when Trey's father, Richard, played for the Bears. Huge day yesterday for Texas. Texas football, 7th-ranked Horns, their prep for a trip to Ames, Iowa. Face Iowa State this weekend and Saturday night. Accolades yesterday for Texas defensive lineman Tavondre Sweat, the 6'4", 340-pound senior, named a semifinalist for the 2023 Outland Trophy by the Football Writers Association of America. Outland Trophy awarded nationally to the nation's top interior lineman, and Sweat has certainly been that this year. Senior from Huntsville has been the leader of that Horns' dominant defensive line. Longhorns have held 6 opponents to under 100 yards rushing this season. Through 10 games, Sweat has posted career highs with 35 tackles, 15 solo, 7.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. Also broke up a couple of passes. The winner will be announced during ESPN's Home Depot College Football Awards in December. Major League Baseball, speaking of awards, the award season continued. If you missed it, Monday, Baltimore's Gunnar Henderson and Arizona's Corbin Carroll named the AL and NL Rookies of the Year. On Tuesday, Skip Schumacher of the Marlins and Brandon Hyde of the Orioles named the Managers of the Year. Yesterday was the Cy Young Award, going to the best pitcher in each league. Yankees ace Garrett Cole gets it in the AL. Padres left-hander Blake Snell in the National. Today, it will be the most valuable players.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable that Trey Johnson makes his announcement on the Pat McAfee show. I mean, that's pretty big time. In itself, it shows you why young people think Texas is the IT university. I mean, that's one of the most popular sports programs in the country. He goes on there for an interview, which is cool, number one, because he's one of the best players in the country, and ends up announcing that he's going to the University of Texas. The platform, him doing that, that's going to help Rodney Terry in recruiting in the future, because there are a lot of young people. I mean, that's why ESPN wanted Pat McAfee, paid him all that money. His demo skews young people, young sports fans love the Pat McAfee show. Having him on there just going to help Rodney Terry just promote the program even more. So I guess we know we answer to the question for Longhorn basketball fans: can Rodney Terry recruit? He can recruit.
He can recruit.
He can recruit.
And and the word, the phrase I had in the headlines, long-standing relationships. That's what he has, right? He's been around the game for so long. He was the top recruiter when he was Rick Barnes' ace assistant before moving on to, Fresno State and UTEP as a head coach and kind of cutting his chops there. Yep. This is a huge win, and there's no question. You're right about Pat McAfee, and McAfee was big on the Longhorn basketball team last year. If you remember, he became a big fan. It was down a few times, and I think that's where that connection really started when when they did a college game day here last year, and he got to be around the Texas basketball program. Kevin Durant was in town, and he became a Longhorn Hoops fan. And obviously, Longhorns were about 10 minutes away from a trip to the Final Four last year with Rodney Terry, and now his first full season. This is big. I mean, this is a huge commitment. I said he's the highest ranked guard since Avery Bradley, but because they're both number 4 in the industry rankings. But man, this guy Avery Bradley was a defensive whiz and just a great athlete. This guy is a smooth scorer, 6'5", can play the point, can play the off guard. His idol is Kevin Durant. Growing up, so that was certainly helpful in picking Texas and his relationship with Rodney Terry and his father. But man, this is a guy is one of the top players, and obviously you got to G League will be involved in that coming forward. But if he plays college basketball, he'll be here. And that's fun. I also think that this team that we're watching on the floor right now is a fun team. They're going to be a really fun team to watch, Rod. They can score. They can score. Tyrese Hunter, I think, is in line for a big season now that he's got his cramping issues under control. Max Asmus, we know. I mean, you're talking about the leading scorer in college basketball currently, period. Like, no one scored more points in the last 4 years in Division I college basketball than Max Asmus. He's a bucket. And so both those guys can get their own shot and create for others. Caden Shedrick is the big guy at 6'11", and that's something they lacked last year, right? With length up front. I mean, Dylan DeSue was their tallest player. Christian Bishop, those guys would bang down there. But this guy's 6'11", long arms, legit big, who can play D and score. And then they're going to get Dylan DeSue back coming up, right? And that'll be a really good front line to go with the back line. And then Dylan Mitchell is really to me, the ceiling of this team will be how much improved Dylan Mitchell gets as this year goes on. Because he's 6'8", is springy, can jump out of the gym. But he's trying to develop his offensive game. But we know he can rebound, block shots, get on the fast break. If he develops, man, this team becomes very, very difficult to handle on the offensive end. Then it's about the defensive side as well. If
Dylan Mitchell can become that 3-and-D guy that the NBA wants him to be. That would, you're right. That
6'8", 3-and-D guy in college basketball is scary.
That would improve the upside of this team tremendously. But yeah, man, they have a ton of upside. We assume this team is going to get a lot better, but right now you can tell just off the jump they can score. They got guys that can score. Hell, man, with that group, I do think you're right. Defensively, that may end up being, because that was the identity of Chris Beard's program,
yes,
right?
It was
defense. And so you're getting away from that. It seems like Rodney Terry is going to have himself a different identity, especially when it comes to how he uses big men in that offense. But, man, once the defense comes around with this group, I'm not worried about the offense at all.
No, I mean,
I'm not concerned.
That's right. And you shouldn't. I don't think and that's where Caden Shedrick's exciting, because he's a rim protector. And at Virginia, where he transferred from, that's what he was, right? I mean, Coach Bennett there at Virginia, if they score 50 points in a game, they're happy. And so it's about defense, rebounding, possession by possession, stall the ball. And Caden Shedrick was a big part of that on the defensive end. But he picked Texas because he wants to improve and show his offensive game. And Rodney Terry and the staff, assured him that, hey, you can come here. We still want your defense, but we'll let you get out on the floor. And because Rodney, unlike Chris Beard, he wants to run a little bit, right? He wants to be, and we saw that even last year with the transition from Chris Beard in December to Rodney Terry. He wants, and Rodney Terry's always been the defensive guy, right? I mean, he runs the defense, but he wants the defense to set up easy buckets for the offense, right? He wants that to get out and run, and whereas Chris Beard would kind of stall the ball a little bit. Bring it back. This team wants to get out and run, but that needs to come from the defensive end of the floor, and we look forward to watching this team. And obviously, it's going to be a hell of a year in the Big 12, where you have the number 1 team in the country in Kansas sitting there. Houston is a top 10 team and a Final Four contender with Kelvin Sampson. Baylor, who you just beat for the Trey Johnson. I mean, these are all
best basketball conference in the country,
without a doubt. I mean, even the average to bad teams are pretty damn good.
Exactly.
And that's the challenge. And gosh, you got 3, 4, 5 teams in there that could win the national championship. You feel like, right? Or at least make the Final Four.
I think you're right.
So that'll be a fun challenge as we get into January and then into the conference season. But we'll look ahead to the Longhorns. But big get Trey Johnson. We'll hear more of that interview with Pat McAfee coming up. Kind of fun. Yeah, how about a national platform like that to make your announcement?
That's that's
swag.
That was, the announcement's big. I mean, you shows that Rodney Terry and his staff can definitely recruit. But man, to make it on that kind of stage, that struck me as, whoa, that's a boss move right there. And I'm sure that he told Texas probably about it beforehand. And obviously you talked about how close that previous relationship was with the family. And making it on the Pat McAfee show, like I said, the ratings, based on ratings and based on numbers and metrics, I don't know if there is a more popular show with the younger demographic of sports fans out there.
Well, my son Nolan, who works at the station from time to time, he loves the show. So he's 22. He's totally in on it.
Yeah,
he liked it before it got to ESPN. He was listening to it.
Oh yeah, on YouTube and stuff. I have glimpses of it, but like I said, it's not for me. It's not my demo.
No,
it's not. It's not for me. I like the info from it, but I don't watch it religiously. I know young people that love it.
Yeah, J.J. Watt was on there yesterday, so I watched a little bit of that. Aaron Rodgers goes on every week. Nick Saban's on there every week.
Saban's on there.
They do a good job. Well, Nolan, my son, was watching it before it became I still remember because when he was in high school and then into where he's at now, he didn't listen to my show much, right? Because he was off to school and whatnot. And then once he got a real job and he was working, he started listening, driving in. He's like, man, you're actually pretty good, Dad. You're actually all right. You're not Pat McAfee, but you're pretty good.
What's paying the bills around here?
Yeah, 25 years.
You're pretty good, Dad. You're not bad.
But no, but McAfee was his show back in the day. So you're right. He's right. And you know who helped recruit Trey Johnson was Arch Manning. Arch Manning was, because remember, Arch is a baller.
Yeah.
Arch Manning led his high school to a state championship in Louisiana.
Yes, he did.
And Arch Manning, people forget. And by the way, we're going to talk to Jerry Hamilton from Inside Texas at 7:30 this morning.
Jerry.
Get his thoughts on how big of a commitment this is and where the Texas basketball program is going with Rodney Terry. But Arch struggled. Remember, he was an early enrollee in January. Got here for the spring, right? Mm-hmm. But according to those close to him, he had a hard time with that. He wanted to go back to back and win a state title. He wanted to play basketball with his teammates. But he had already been on that track to graduate and be a football early enrollee, which kind of tells a little bit about Arch. He was, he's a really good athlete. He wanted to go back and try to go, win with his team, but he had to make that call. But he's a hoopster. So there are pictures of he on social media when Trey Johnson made his official visits, and that goes right. I mean, he's one of the top basketball prospects. Arch Manning was the number one football prospect.
Yeah,
they're similar age, and their circles run the same. Yeah.
No doubt about that.
And so that's kind of cool. And that's for Texas. You've added Arch Manning and now this kid who some believes is the best prospect in the country. I mean, he's rated fourth as a guard, but he's 6'5" and probably still growing too, Rod. Wow. He led Lake Highlands. If you saw him in high school last year at 6A level, Lake Highlands won the state title as a junior. And those who saw him were like, oh, my gosh. Yeah. Now he's playing at the Link Academy this year.
Yeah, but he won't be here long anyway.
No.
The way it's projected. If he does come, because like you said, it's still a possibility that he can go G League on this thing.
Yes.
Who's that, Holland? Someone went G League.
Ron Holland.
Texas, like Ron Holland last year.
Who's projected to be the number one pick in the draft next year.
There you go. Boom. Have you watched him? Have you got any chance to see him in G League?
He's
I heard he's lighting it up. Actually.
He's balling.
Yeah, I heard he's lighting it up.
He is a powerhouse.
Yeah, so you could get that situation because this kid is that talented.
Well, but you also give, you got to swing, right? You got to take your shot.
Oh, yeah.
And Rodney Terry landed him before he chose to otherwise. But he was
He can recruit.
If he was going to college, he was coming here.
He can recruit.
Rodney Terry can sell the program. Trey Johnson, Cam Scott is also in this recruiting. The recruiting class, by the way, ranked top 5 now for basketball for 2024. The window, that's what we mentioned. Yesterday was the last day for the early signing window. And we told you yesterday and what's popping on the way out. Hey, watch for this. This could come down. Today's the last day. Most people believe Trey Johnson will make his pick. But he joins Cam Scott, a shooting guard from Lexington, South Carolina, who's rated as the top 35 player in the country. And Nick Cody, a power forward from Carrollton Newman Smith High School. He's ranked 45th in the country. So 3-player recruiting class and we'll see if they all roll in here. With the Longhorns, but Trey Johnson, obviously the biggest of those, which came down yesterday as the Longhorn football team continuing to prep for their trip to Ames, Iowa. We'll have more on that behind the burnt orange curtain with Rod coming up. And props to Tavondre Sweat. He may win this thing, Rod. This Outland Trophy. I think he'll be up for the Lombardi too when it comes down to it. But the Outland Trophy,
it's tough for interior defensive lineman to win it. I'll say that because they usually don't have the stats, and there'll be somebody in there with like stats.
Well, last year the center for Michigan won it.
Yes, I was saying sometimes. I'm not saying all the time. It can happen, but I say sometimes it's tough if you don't have as a defensive player if you don't have the stats. Well, offensive guys never have obviously old linemen. They're not gonna have stats really. So I don't know. We'll see. I haven't looked at the list.
Well, I can't find the semifinals. He's just been named. I don't even know how many there are. But so the last 4 winners: Penei Sewell won it. Actually, Quinnen Williams won it at Alabama in 2018. Ed Oliver won it in 2017 from the University of Houston.
Yeah, I mean, that was a stat monger, right?
Yes.
He was piling up.
Then Quinnen Williams, then Penei Sewell from Oregon. Then Alex Leatherwood from Alabama won it as a left tackle. Jordan Davis from Georgia who's now playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, won it in 2021.
Yeah, Jordan Davis didn't have a lot of stats. He was just a dominant force. And that's kind of how Sweat after winning, kind of how he won it.
That's right. And then, and if all you got to do is watch a few games, see the impact he has on the game when he's on the football field.
Do they watch games?
Well, that would help. You hope they're picking the award.
Yeah, well, hey, a lot of people that pick polls and stuff, they don't watch all the games.
I think it's a committee of like 70 people that are like previous winners help vote on this.
You think everybody's watching all the games? That's my point.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Last year, the center from Michigan, Soligan Olawami, won the award. So now this is one because earlier this week, the Davey O'Brien Award, Quinn Ewers was a semifinalist, and one of the he's not going to win that award. I mean, there's too many other great quarterbacks, and now he's battled some injury. Quinn Ewers to be up for it is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We thought Jonathan Brooks was on track to win the Doak Walker, and now he's hurt. But he still could be one of the considerations at that point, just with his 10 games of effort.
JT is semifinalist for the Mackey? Did we see that?
He is. Okay. JT Sanders is semifinalist for the Mackey Award. He and Brock Bowers, probably the two top tight ends in the country. So, yeah, this tells you that the Longhorns are playing at that level, that across the board they have guys playing to that level. And, look, I do think Jonathan Brooks was the favorite to win the Doak.
I agree.
And I think T'Vondre Sweat might be one of the leading contenders to win this award. I do. I think he's having that kind of season, and his impact is impactful because his team is the best rush defense in the Big 12, and they've got a challenge this week. So we'll keep an eye on that. But congratulations to T'Vondre. If he doesn't win it, that's still because remember he came back to play his senior year. He's a sixth-year player. Mm-hmm. He's just gotten better and better under Bo Davis, and he is really he along with Cam, the right tackle.
For Texas?
Yeah, Christian Jones. Those two guys to me are the best examples of development at Texas. Those are guys that are sixth-year players who bought into the Sark, coaching staff and where they are. Neither were considered NFL players a couple years ago when Sark's first year. I remember going to the game at Arkansas when Christian Jones just got destroyed at Arkansas in year one when he was just like, oh my gosh. This is a problem.
In over his
head. And to see how far he's come with Kyle Flood, and now he is projected as maybe a day 2 draft pick into the NFL at right tackle, and now T'Vondre Sweat up for the Outland Trophy. And he was just a big body, right? But he was out of shape. He couldn't be on the field for long stretches of time, and you've just seen the development of that young guy into a player that might be a first-round draft pick, Rod, into the NFL when in April, just because you can't coach 340. You can't coach the feet. You can't coach the strength.
Exactly.
And you can't move the guy, and he's pretty damn athletic the way he gets and kind of lives in the backfield with 7.5 tackles for loss and a couple sacks, the big knockdowns against K-State. So good luck to T'Vondre Sweat. But more luck for the Longhorns. They got a tough one. Night game at Iowa State on Saturday.
Yeah, I've been watching some more of Iowa State. Iowa State is such a strange team. Watching them, you wouldn't think that they would have this record because their offense it's an underwhelming offense and it's below average in a lot of ways, but it's improving week to week, and they are trending toward a breakout performance offensively. Hey, you could argue that they already had one, and that worries me a little bit. But this is a game that if Texas just doesn't have a long lapse like they have in the last 3 of the last 4 games in the second half, then they should control the game, and they should be able to beat Iowa State. The concern is, how does the running game look for Texas without Jonathan Brooks? Because if they can't convert third downs and they can't control the game and stay ahead of the chains with the run game, that's going to be a concern versus Iowa State. It is still one of the better defenses in the country. Their secondary is their strength in terms of personnel and talent to me. And Texas, they are built defensively to be able to stop the run just the way they are constructed. But I think they have some talent in the secondary. If Texas can run the ball and is a one-dimensional versus Iowa State, it could be good because you do have matchup advantages across the board. They can't match up with you. But I do wonder if, that will play right into their hands, you not having enough balance on offense.
Well, Rod, you've taught the audience about the 3-high defense that John Heacock has really trailblazed.
Yeah, pioneer of it.
And now they recruit to it. Sark talked on Monday about how, and maybe we'll hear Sark coming up talking about how they don't deviate from it. It's their system. It's what they do.
Yep.
And, boy, when you mentioned their secondary, we watch them on film. They're huge.
They're big.
They're big in the secondary.
They got like little linebackers.
Yeah, they're big back there.
Yeah.
Which is to come up and run support and be kind of hybrid players. We'll talk about that coming up behind the BOC. One note, that Outland Trophy, goes so the committee votes on it. It goes to only interior linemen on offense and defense. We're talking about guard, center, tackle, or guards and offensive linemen, and then interior defensive linemen. So we'll see if Tavondre can bring that home. We come back. It's Behind the BOC. We'll talk other top stories. Getting ready for Bengals-Ravens tonight on Thursday Night Football, which is a good one. Got some What the Facts before the end of the hour. What's going to be another beautiful day in the ATX a Thursday. Let's roll. Let's hook them up with Ian Rod B.
Erin Hogan, Rod Babers, Hook 'em Up, 1019 AM 1260, The Horn.
Thursday on the Horn, Ian Rod B with you. It's good football tonight with the Ravens and Bengals. We'll preview that. Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, a couple of the premier quarterbacks in the game.
Oh, yeah.
That should be fun. We've had some bad Thursday night games of late, but this one stands out for sure. Also appreciate our man T-Bone on the text line sent me the from Brett McMurphy. We mentioned Outland Trophy semifinalists include Tavondre Sweat. He sent me a list of the others. Notre Dame tackle Joe Alt is on the list. He's been playing great for Notre Dame. K-State guard Cooper Beebe, Rod. Cooper Beebe, the Longhorns. If you go head-to-head on that, the Tavondre dominated that deal.
Yeah.
Oregon State tackle Talise Fuaga. Illinois defensive tackle Jazon Newton. Also, go ahead.
So they're going, is all linemen?
It's all interior linemen.
But there are tackles on there.
Yeah, tackles. That would be the one.
So it's all O linemen and only interior D linemen. It's weird how they're doing.
Award.
Yeah, it's weird how they do. Cause they're doing that now. The finalists for the Lombardi Trophy, they got Brock Bowers on there.
With the Lombardi.
Yeah.
If you play in line, like offense or defense,
I
you can be up for the
expanding these definitions.
Yeah, they do. Essentially, offense. Yeah, okay. Lombardi has expanded.
Yeah, so why not do edge rushers then? So you just gonna leave off the edge rushers? Why not just do linemen? Period.
They do announce the Ted Hendricks Award, which goes to the
Because I thought that was all interior. Then they're like, oh, we put tackles on it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Put tackles on there?
But yeah, Michigan guard Zach Zinter and Tavondre Sweat's only 2 defensive tackles on the list. The other guys are either tackles or guards on the offensive line for the Outland Trophy as the Longhorns got a bunch.
That is special, though. There's only 2 D tackles on there. Just show you that. Yeah, that's special. Okay.
And the Illinois defensive tackle.
He's
Newton.
a monster. They say he might be the first D tackle off the board. I saw some mock drafts about
with Brett Bielema's team there.
Yeah, they got a good defense.
They do. Not much for offense, though. It's the Big Ten. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the question. Do they have a good offense in the Big Ten?
Between Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State, Illinois, those are all what, top 15?
Things that not like about the state of college football right now is everything's changing so dramatically, right? But adding the Pac-12 schools to the Big Ten, that'll be fun to see that contrast, right? Because the West Coast teams are all offensively built. I know Oregon's got a pretty good defense, but that'll be a stark contrast to how the Big Ten and the Midwest and the meat and potatoes are built.
They need it.
Sure.
The Big Ten needs it desperately because nobody wants to watch marquee games where y'all, end up being a
36 straight
struggle.
running plays.
Yeah, nobody wants. Yeah, but J.J. McCarthy didn't even throw a pass in the second half of that game. Nobody wants to watch football like that. I mean, nothing against it. It was a dominant, nice win by Michigan, brutality and force, but people want to see points.
Yeah,
they want to see passes.
Balls in the air.
Yeah, they want to see points and passes. Come on.
Well, and that's a good look. I mean, first 8 years of my life were in Akron, Ohio, so that's kind of how teams are built there because they know it's going to get cold.
That's true. Makes sense.
It's kind of how Matt Campbell builds his team at Iowa State. You got to be big, got to be physical, you got to be able to handle November and December games where it's going to be cold and snow might be on the ground.
The West Coast offenses, that's why they call it the West Coast offense because you can do that. You can spread it out and you can throw the football out because the weather's going to be nicer.
Well, but you know what? I also think, and if you look at it, Rod, I've always wanted to write a book about this, but never have done. Had the.
Hey, you got time? Got
the
kids out of the house now.
But kids are out of the house. I do have time.
Empty nesting, baby.
But the whole idea of all the coaches, if you, I've always said, if you put a pin in where I was born, and go 100 miles any direction, and
the cradle of coaches there.
The number of super high level coaches that have come grew up in that area.
Oh yeah.
100 miles either direction.
Oh, yeah. It's like that Midwest area right there.
The cradle of coaches. It started with Woody Hayes and obviously back Notre Dame and Newt Rockne and all that. But so it's amazing how many of those coaches come out of that. Matt Campbell would be another one. And then they, if they get out of it, then they can evolve and be like Bob Stoops, a great example out of Youngstown, all the Stoops brothers.
Yeah.
You grow up in that, and it's all you know. I mean, if you grow up in Ohio, it is football. I mean, you think Texas is football crazy. You grow up in it. And then if you go out and then you can evolve, you can become Nick Saban, right?
You get the foundation there, right?
Nick Saban's in that list.
Yeah, you get the foundation there, but then you get the influence, the outside influence when you go elsewhere and
you
combine that with the great football foundation you have, and then boom, like you said.
It's a meat and potatoes, state.
Yeah.
It's a blue collar state, and that's how you kind of build your teams. But then, yes, as we've seen, it's pretty amazing how many great coaches have come out of that.
You're right.
Centric of an area of the country.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at was it Eastern Illinois? I believe that has Mike Shanahan was there, and Sean Payton. They have three, 4 NFL coaches, and it's coach at this place, Eastern Illinois. It's like what? I think Tony Romo might do it. I think that's this place. I gotta make sure I got it right, but I think that's it too.
Yeah, we'll one of these days I'll delve into that. And you and I write it together, and you can be the football theorist and do the deep dive research. But it's deep, man. But it's pretty cool. But either way, that's a good conversation for another day. Good luck to Tavondre Sweat. We're talking Texas football, Texas basketball, the huge commitment from Trey Johnson.
Yes, it is Eastern Illinois. Sean Payton, Brad Childress. Is there a lot of? That's where
Tony Romo
played quarterback there. Tony Romo.
Romo.
It's a nice little
Jimmy
cradle,
Garoppolo.
of coaches and stuff that come out of there. Yeah.
Hey, can we go behind the burnt orange curtain? Texas has a big game with Iowa State on Saturday night. Longhorn Hoops is rolling. Let's hit it.
And they were all asking themselves the same question. What is behind that curtain?
All right, now he's got me down this rabbit hole.
Don't do it.
It is Eastern Illinois, yeah. For some reason, Tony, like you said, Tony Romo, Brad Childress, Sean Payton, Mike Shanahan. Weird little connection there with the NFL. All right, let's talk about the Texas Longhorns and their matchup coming up versus the Iowa State Cyclones. Yesterday, we dove deep into the matchup between the Texas defense and the Iowa State offense. Probably went a little too deep. Might have scared some of y'all. And today we'll get into the Iowa State defense versus the Texas offense. I have, been on the record multiple times talking about this 3-high-3-down defense, and that it has been a very effective defense against Steve Sarkisian, and it has been. I mean, actually, it's I've called it the kryptonite for Steve Sarkisian, but Sark is on his way to figuring things out. Now, remember, my theory was that against the 3-high-3-down defense, you have to expose the 3-high-3-down defense, right? Because its unique strength is its ability to distort and disguise pre-snap. And that distortion and that disguise pre-snap, it forces quarterbacks in the passing game to have to process everything post-snap, which means you have seconds to process everything rather than having your pre-snap indicators give you a better idea of what the defensive front and what the coverages are. You don't really get that versus the 3-high. And that's crucial, especially for a Sark offense, because Sark has an RPO-based passing game. His words, not mine. RPO is when the quarterback counts the numbers of defenders, counts the number of offensive linemen in the box. If the offense has the advantage, they hand it off, because you have the advantage of the numbers in the box. If not, then you throw to the tag on the outside, right? Because you have the numbers advantage on the outside. If you don't have it inside, then you got it outside. Well, the 3-high-3-down distorts the pre-snap count for the quarterback, so you might get the count wrong. Right? You thought you had the numbers advantage, then you didn't. And you thought you may have had the numbers advantage on the outside, and you did not. So it causes quarterbacks to have miscalculations, right, in their RPO count. Also, in the RPO running game, it also confuses blocking schemes because they bring these defenders. We were just talking about it, right? Iowa State's got these almost hybrid linebackers in their secondary. Bo Frailer's one of them. They're huge. They come from the second and third level of the defense in their run fits. What do I always say? Just because I got 6 guys in the box doesn't mean they're just 6 guys in the fit. I got 8 guys in the run fit. I got 9 guys in the run fit, but I only put 6 guys in the box, right? And then the box count, that's what the offensive linemen and offensive players, that's what they're using for their count, right? For their blocking assignments, all right? I got this guy, I got that guy. When you don't have those guys in the box, yes, you have the initial advantage offensively, but if I got those guys in the run fit, all I have to do is be able to run the alley, all right, and stay in their lanes pretty much, and they can predict where the run will pop if everybody is assignment sound in the run game. So that's what they do. They don't have a lot of guys in the box, but they have a ton of guys in the run fit. And when they come from that second and third level, all right, to be forced in the run game, sometimes the offensive linemen, sometimes the offensive players don't know where to block. They don't know who to block because these guys are coming from different angles and they're coming from different levels. And it makes it tougher sometimes. Sometimes they miss their blocks. Sometimes they're not assignment sound because they don't know who to block in the run game. And imagine this guy, Bo Frailer, essentially is a middle linebacker, but coming from the third level, third level middle linebacker. And he's coming downhill, and they're downhill run force defenders. That's why it's tough on the run game, because sometimes it confuses blocking assignments. So it's not a defense that cannot be exposed, but those are the strengths of it. And when you force the 3-high to abandon its disguise and its distortion, which is its unique strength, then you can get to exposing whatever coverage and whatever they're in. But that more than half the battle is getting it to declare itself, declare your coverage, declare their front, declare their pressure pass, and give the offense better indicators about what they're trying to do. And the way that I do it is get extreme, right? Don't be a moderate. Right, you need to be extreme in your philosophy when you face these 3-high defenses offensively, and that you can do that personnel wise. You can with 6-0 line package. That's an extreme package, right? Heavy personnel package. Those are extreme packages. You can go 21 personnel would be a bit extreme these days because 2 backs is heavy run. You can go empty formation. That's an extreme formation. So Sark understands this. And by the way, Sark has used some of these extreme principles. I look at 6-0 line packages this year versus the 3-high 3-down, and based on my numbers, you're averaging close to 13 yards per attempt throwing the football versus the 3-high 3-down out of the 6-0 line package, and you're really close to 5 yards per rush. You're a little below 5 yards per rush. And if you go look at versus the 3-high 3-down just this season, and you go look at kind of the overall basically yards per play, you're still close to averaging 8 yards per play. out of it. Now you're throwing the football out of it successfully and effectively. I think because teams, when they see 6 linemen on the field, they immediately think run and they go to their run defense. All right, because you know that Texas has the mass advantage and they have obviously the girth advantage up front, and I think that's why you get favorable matchups on the outside. But getting back to it, Sark isn't necessarily using the 6-0 line package as much as I thought versus the 3 high, at least in the last stretch run, right? He's faced 5 teams now. This will be the 5th team that runs the 3 high they've seen this year. Wyoming runs it. Of course, TCU and K-State ran it. But remember, U of H broke it out against Texas. That was their tendency breaker. This will be the 5th team. So Sark's got to figure it out because half the damn teams he's played are running the 3 high, 3 down. It's that popular. Now, the way he's getting extreme that I've noticed in the last 2 games, and I'll give it to Sark. I didn't see this on the horizon, but I appreciate it. Unbalanced formation. Unbalanced when you have an overload of all your receivers on one side of the field. I call it quads. He's going with 4 wide receivers on 4 wide receivers, 4 receivers. Even the tight end JT Sanders at times, if it's 12 personnel, he'll go with double tight over there, offset wing with twins to that side. Essentially, unbalanced formation is the majority of your receivers, all your receivers on one side of the field. And he's done that, right, close to 40 times in the last 2 games. That's his way of getting extreme, forcing the 3 high to declare itself. And it's worked for him, especially in the passing game. They've been really prolific throwing the football out of those quad formations. They want to be able to run the football more effectively. My concern is that, though, they don't have Jonathan Brooks. So he still could go this route, but against Iowa State, that type of 3 high that is such a force in the run game, it may be better to throw the football out of extreme formations, especially empty formation. Talked to my man Ian Boyd about this, and he agreed empty formation might be the way to go in this game just because you don't have Jonathan Brooks, but do you want to expose your quarterback to essentially that much passing game and potentially with an injury, do you want to expose him to potential pass protection issues?
Well, as I mentioned, it's a great breakdown, but their safeties, Rod. Malik Verdon is 6'4", 225.
They're
playing
linebackers.
safety.
Yeah, hybrids.
Bo
man.
Freiler is 6'2", 220. Their corners are big, too. I mean, Miles Purchase is probably their best cover corner, but he's 5'10", 205. And then TJ Tampa, as you talked about, who's from he's from
like
St. Petersburg.
He's close to Tampa.
TJ Tampa is from
Close to
St.
Tampa.
Petersburg.
Yeah.
He's 6'2", 200. I mean, this is a real
Well,
big, long secondary,
big, yep.
and it's primarily to fit to that 3 high defense, and then they can come down in the box and support the run. And I'll say this, those big safeties, Rod, C.J. Baxter better not be tiptoeing up in there because they'll come hit you, right?
Yes,
Which I agree with you. Go empty, and Texas should have a speed advantage, right? I mean, A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, these guys are quicker and twitchier than these guys. You should be able to create some matchups. And the fact that the weather is supposed to be pretty nice as far as that goes, and for Iowa in mid-November at night, it's supposed to be in the 40s, but doesn't look like any precipitation, and should be a nice night to play football. That may be a good way to go if you feel like your quarterback is trending towards being healthy with Quinn Ewers, because he should be able to find it. It might be tougher in the run game.
Might be tough in the run. That's what I'm worried about too.
Especially without Jay Brooks in this spot. All right, there's some behind the burn orange curtain. We're talking Texas basketball, who had a huge day yesterday. We'll get you. This might be, the national days that we tell you about, Ron.
Oh, yeah.
National this, national
holidays.
that, made up holidays. This might be our producer Ty's favorite holiday coming up.
Made up holiday?
No, it's not National Boobs Day. It's not. It's something different, but it may be Ty's favorite day. We'll also get to the other facts of the day and having fun with you on a Thursday. We're rolling on, talking Texas, Iowa State, Texas basketball, and the big game tonight in the NFL. Getting you ready for that. We got a lot to do. Let's hook 'em up with Ian Rodby.
Erin Hogan, Rod Babers, Hook 'em Up, 1019.
I didn't see it. They can't let that happen again. There's no, but that's probably too literal for
They
me.
can't forget their kids. Well, it's like Taken. His daughter keeps getting kidnapped all the time. It's like Liam Neeson.
Yeah,
why is your daughter always getting kidnapped, man?
I haven't seen any of the second or third Takens. I watched one Taken. I got enough.
Exactly. It's like, bro, protect your daughter better, man.
I never saw any of the extra. The Hangovers. Never saw any of those number 2 or 3.
You never seen Hangover 2 and 3?
Those are good.
Those are decent. Yeah, those are decent. Taken 2 and 3 is decent too.
I was good with one.
I think one of them is like his wife or something. It's not always his daughter, but still, you love ones, man. Come on, protect them.
I have a very particular set of skills.
That's right. Hey, Ty, so today is National Fast Food Day, brother.
Ooh.
National Fast Food Day. How many fast food applications do you have on your phone?
This is good.
Yesterday I used the McDonald's app and the Wingstop app in one day, if that tells you anything. So the McRib is back.
Somebody said, because I said it might.
No.
Oh, the McRib. That's
no,
McGross.
say it ain't so. Exactly.
It's not the same. It's not the same as it used to be. I'll say that. I gave it a 4 out of 10 rating yesterday.
Oh, it's not as good. I thought you were saying it's better. It's been improved. No, it's worse, huh?
It's worse.
They're skimping on the processed meat now. They're somehow shaped into a
exactly
rib.
It's like, it was always cheap meat anyway. Come on, man.
It kind of feels like when you used to play with like Play-Doh when you were a kid, and somehow they made it look like a rib, and then they cook it.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never tasted a McRib in my life. I've never tasted a McRib. I don't even know how it tastes. I don't even know what it is. There? So there's no bones in this McRib, right?
No.
It's just
It's basically
gross.
a pork patty smothered in barbecue sauce.
Oh man,
So gross.
That is so disgusting.
I've eaten breakfast at McDonald's and then I eat burgers, maybe nuggets, but I've never had the fish
McGriddle. The McGriddle is off the chain.
Oh, that thing.
Big fan of McGriddle. I'm with you on the nuggets. The nuggets are legit, and the fries are always legit. That's
So,
probably what I
if you're like me and probably Rod, you don't eat fast food a lot. Ty eats it every day. Might be your day. Maybe just try something. Try something you haven't had.
They should have specials then. If it's
They do. I'll get you those.
Okay.
I got those for coming. But Ty, you say you have all these apps because they do give you good deals, right? If you're trying to be a baller on a budget, you got to be able to save, and you get all kinds of good stuff when you download those apps, right?
Yeah, I mean you can get a free. Pretty much, you can pay probably $1 for a full meal at McDonald's almost every day if you have the app.
If you have the app.
Ooh, and don't you have access to like these secret menus that these places have? Do they all have secret menus?
They have some exclusive things that are offered just through the app, but I mean, most of the secret options, you got to know that by heart.
You gotta know, because everybody has like secret menu stuff, but you gotta know, you gotta be in the know.
Got to be behind the
to
curtain,
know
Ron.
the
That's
Chick-fil-A
why
secret menu.
That's why people listen to the Behind the Burnt Orange Curtain. You get the intel, the deep dive. People don't know these things.
They don't know.
You only get it here. That's what the app is.
That's what you're right.
Got to have the app.
Yeah, the Chick-fil-A app I think is the one I'm thinking about getting actually.
The what?
The only fast food
Chick-fil-A?
I'm thinking about getting to Chick-fil-A app because it does make it really convenient to just roll up there.
All right, so on National Fast Food Day, if we're going to go have one fast food meal, let us know where that needs to be.
Mine is Chick-fil-A.
Actually, I had Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and Wingstop yesterday. I just realized.
What the hell, Ty? What the hell, man?
These bats are on a budget.
Wingstop doesn't have a drive-through window, though, right?
No, but they got an app, and if you order over like $20, it's free delivery. Even though I live less than a mile away from it. I live less than a mile when I had it delivered at like 9:30 last night. It was.
I used to live near a Wingstop, so I went hard on Wingstop for like 3 years, bro. So I get you. Trust me. I got to go to order, and the fries are off the chain.
That's the main reason I get it. The little sugar they put on those fries.
Ooh, I think I used to get like the Cajun. I think is there.
Yep.
I don't know if I get, but yeah.
Like voodoo fries or whatever.
Ooh, man, don't get me started. Now, Ty, you got me thinking about Wingstop. Damn you.
It's only not even 7 o'clock yet. Almost.
Can I give you what the facts?
What the facts? Give me one.
I gave this yesterday, but it's worth going into again, guys. The Bengals, all right, play tonight and play the Baltimore Ravens tonight. The Bengals are 1-23 straight up on the road in night games over the last 25 years.
Give me that number again.
I repeat, 1-23 straight up on the road in night games over the last 25 years. They are currently on a 13-game straight-up losing streak in this spot. Last win in Philly in 2012. So just Keep that in mind, throwing it out there. And also, night game unders. Don't forget, NFL games played in primetime window. Night games, international, etc. Doesn't matter. Now, 30-7 to the under this season. That's 81%, folks.
Hey,
straight cash, homie.
If you're listening, this is behind the curtain. Ravens in the under tonight might be a really strong play. Just saying. If you're listening to those numbers. Those are trends.
Yeah, man.
By the way, congratulations to Garrett Cole, sixth pitcher in Yankees history to win the Cy Young Award, first since Roger Clemens back in 2001. As award season continues, regular season awards in Major League Baseball. By the way, each of the previous 5 Yankees who won the Cy Young made the World Series the year they won. We know that Garrett Cole did not. They missed the playoffs for the first time in his tenure. Blake Snell won it in the National League. Today, Rod, it'll be the AL and NL MVPs, and obviously Shohei Ohtani and Ronald Acuna Jr., the heavy favorites to win those awards today. As those have trickled out this week. So we'll have that for you. We got What the Facts. We have more facts coming, including the Longhorns landing the biggest basketball commitment they've had possibly since Kevin Durant committing to the Longhorns, and he did it on a national platform yesterday. We'll let you hear it. We'll also talk to Jerry Hamilton, the senior recruiting advisor there at Inside Texas and On3 Sports. His thoughts on the impact this young guy can have on the Texas basketball program, and Longhorn football with Jerry as well. Rod will have a rant as well. We're rolling, man. It is a Thursday, 1 hour down, 4 to go on Hook 'em Up with Ian Rod B.
saw people doing that. I was like, oh man, thought that was more common knowledge. That's all right. Be safe out there though.
Be safe.
Yes.
Be safe. All right, so we're talking Longhorn hoops today. We'll get you the details coming up in the headlines. Big day for Texas basketball. Yeah, Trey J rolling in. We'll talk to Jerry Hamilton at the bottom of the hour. Always good to talk to G. All things recruiting in Texas football and basketball. Rod's got a rant coming up. What are we ranting on today as we get ready for a big NFL and college football weekend?
We talked about something yesterday. We briefly got into it about the Texans and their selection of C.J. Stroud. The general, John McClain, who we all big fans of. You know John McClain really well too. He's supposed to be retired, but he's still kind of working. So he had actually broke a little news, I thought, about the draft selection of C.J. Stroud. So I want to get into that, and then we'll talk about quarterback. That'll lead us to talking about Dak Prescott a little bit too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the NFL weekend starts tonight. We've got Longhorns on the brain as well as the Horns get ready for their game at Iowa State. One of 2 regular season games remaining for the Longhorns. If they can navigate these next 2, they'll be in the Big 12 championship game. Pretty clear. We also had the Big 12 further clarifying their tiebreaker rules. We'll get to that coming up. Yes. We'll get to some bullish and BS coming up, and it's really not that hard to understand. It didn't because Oklahoma fans really they got hosed on this deal, which is really not true.
Yeah, I mean you lost 2 games in conference play.
Yeah.
So you're your own worst enemy at this point, and that's why Texas needs to take care of business versus Iowa State. You don't want to have the fate of your team decided by the whims and circumstances of the college football season.
You do not. And, a loss all of a sudden, you tumble into that 2-loss conversation too. And as you said, that's not where you want to be.
No.
Because it's there are 4 teams sitting there with 2 losses. You're the one with 1. Mm-hmm. You want to remain that way, obviously, as you move forward and not have to deal with that. The Longhorns control that destiny at this point. But Iowa State presents a pretty good challenge on Saturday night. Let's get to the headlines. Trending topics to start your foggy Thursday morning. And it starts with college basketball. Top Gun Rentals brings you the top stories on Top Gun Rentals and lawn equipment. Tremendous day and night for the Texas basketball program yesterday on the floor last night. Rodney Terry's Longhorns, 19th ranked in the country, shot a season best 60% from the field. Got double-digit scoring efforts from Tyrese Hunter, Caden Shedrick, and Max Asmus on their way to an 80-64 win over Rice. Turnover is really the only issue for the Longhorns. I think they had 16 of them. Other than that, they were pretty darn good. Tyrese Hunter led the way with 18. Caden Shedrick had 15. Max Asmus 13. Horns now 3-0. Earlier in the day, the Longhorns earned a massive recruiting win. Trey Johnson, the number 4 overall prospect in the 2024 industry rankings, 6'5" scoring machine at off guard, chose the Longhorns, by the way. He had narrowed his schools of choice down to Texas and Baylor. And on the final day of the early signing window, he joined the Pat McAfee show on ESPN yesterday to make the announcement official. So there it is. Chose Texas over Baylor. The Johnson, the highest-rated guard to commit to Texas since Avery Bradley back in 2009. Maybe the best offensive player to commit to Texas since Kevin Durant. He helped lead Dallas Lake Highlands to a 6A state championship last year, playing his senior year at the Link Academy in Missouri. He and his family have had a long-standing relationship with Texas head coach Rodney Terry that dates back to when Terry was an assistant coach at Baylor. Trey's father, Richard, played basketball for the Bears while Rodney Terry was there. Texas football, 7th-ranked Horns continue their prep for this week's trip to Iowa State. Accolades yesterday for Texas defensive lineman Tavondre Sweat, the 6'4", 340-pound senior, named a semifinalist 2023 Outland Trophy by the Football Writers Association of America. That award is awarded annually to the top interior lineman, offense or defense. One of 7 finalists now for that award. The winner will be announced during the College Football Awards on ESPN in early December. Major League Baseball Awards week continued on Monday. Baltimore's Gunnar Henderson, Arizona's Corbin Carroll named the Rookies of the Year in the American League and National League. Tuesday it was Managers of the Year. Skip Schumacher, the Marlins. Brandon Hyde of the Orioles. Yesterday, Cy Young. Yankees ace Garrett Cole wins in the American League. Padres left-hander Blake Snell in the National. Today will be the most valuable players in each league. By the way, Rod, can I mention that Draymond Green suspended 5 games?
Yeah.
5 games for the headlock and the choking incident with
honestly, that's pretty light considering he's an habitual line stepper, right? That
habitual line stepper. I love it.
Serial offender here. Actually, that's pretty light. And it's the start of the regular season, so they probably don't care much about it. But yeah, I mean, Draymond Green, he's kind of the scorpion too. We talk about the scorpion and the frog all the time. It's in his nature. He's one of those guys. It's just in his nature. You can try to, talk to him about the consequences of his actions and being not being a better teammate. He actually is a great teammate other than punching one of his former teammates, which even Michael Jordan did that. He actually usually gets in trouble taking up for his teammates and going after somebody in retaliation for something. But yeah, man, this is how many times we gonna come in here and talk about Draymond Green losing it, escalating a situation that probably could have been de-escalated and didn't have to turn into a physical altercation. But he's an habitual line stepper, and if he's got a chance to cross the line, he's gonna do it.
Yeah, anger management not working for our man Draymond. You know
how many times has he been?
He also was fined $800,000, right?
It's nothing for Draymond.
Was that number right? This
he's got his podcast or whatever he's got now. He's making good money on that too now.
And he'll go straight to TV when it's over.
Oh, that's TNT's waiting on him. They're like, hey man, when you're done, just come on over.
He already has a contract signed.
Oh really?
TNT.
Oh, does he really?
He's got the Tom Brady thing.
He does like on some off nights. He'll be on the TNT.
Yep.
Whatever inside the NBA show.
That makes sense. I mean, he goes to his own podcast right after games. Like he probably has an episode right about this choking incident, and it gets tons of impressions and views and hits because if you're an NBA fan, he's giving you inside info. He's giving it to you raw and uncut. So
yeah, well, I think that's rightful 5 games, but yeah, he's got anger issues without a doubt. This says Ty, you're going to need a cardiologist soon. That's absolutely true.
I'm actually in very good health.
So he's so young.
Very good health. Well, you're 25 yet.
Yeah, when you're
keep eating
young,
that fast food, man.
You're good. When if you're 35, you can't do that. But when you're 25, man, you can do that.
I got a physical a few months ago. They were hyping me up. How healthy I am.
Hyping you up. Nice. That's good.
They put your picture on the wall,
picture of perfect health.
Yeah, that's what I think when I see you, Ty. Sure, I haven't seen you in a little bit because we're not in the studio these days. But I will say that I do want your help. Be you the people, right? Here on Ian Rodby. Hook 'em up. Because I may eat fast food today, right? I almost never eat fast food. But it's National Fast Food Day. But I need someone, if I'm going for it, I need the right meal. I need what is the go-to, and it's,
Man. Really? So you don't want to waste the experience. If you're going to do it, you got to do it big.
That's right. I'm doing one thing. I'll do lunch today for fact because I got to run some errands. I got to record our new episode of our Eyes on Texas podcast. So
you'll be eating on the fly, so fast food is perfect.
I never do that. I never do that.
Yeah.
Zaxby's?
Ooh.
And what's the go-to there?
Wings and things plate. It's I don't know if this is up your alley, but it's chicken tenders and wings. It's like a Cane's chicken tender combo, but with wings and whatever sauce you want on the wings too.
I thought about Raising Cane's because I hear good things about it. I don't know. So you guys can help with it. Do you eat fast food?
That's the definition of fast food. Got to have a drive-through window. Doesn't have a drive-through window. I don't know if it's technically fast food. Maybe good food quickly. But I don't know if it's fast.
Somebody said Dan's Hamburgers with a chocolate milkshake. Ooh.
I think they do have a drive-thru at Dan's.
Popeye's chicken sandwich with red beans and rice.
Well done there. Hey, that's one of my go-tos. I used to love me some Popeyes. I was having.
And I know right where a Popeyes is. Right here, there's one in Buda now.
Oh, I love Popeyes fries. Oh, Popeyes got.
See, I might do that because I've never had Popeyes. I don't believe.
Their seasoned fries are fantastic. Got to get some of the fries if you can go to Popeyes.
What about the?
Too, but people like the red beans.
You've
and rice.
never had
and
Popeyes?
If you go to Popeyes,
no.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I don't ever eat fast food. I really don't.
He doesn't. He gets salads when we go to Remote's and we'll go get a wing spot or something, a sports bar, and he'll break out a salad on him.
Well, yeah, because I'm 50 years old now. This says, Ty, it'll catch up to you. It says doing silent damage. Wait till you're in your 30s. You eat crap, it'll turn to crap.
Oh no, it's like smoking menthols, but your body will recover if you stop it. Like I used to smoke menthols and eat fast food, but I stopped because, like I said, that's like you're basically doing damage.
Ticking time bomb.
So I haven't eaten fast food probably in other than Chick-fil-A like once every 2 weeks or so. I probably haven't eaten it like religiously in 12 to 15. It went from 12 to 15 years. So you'll have to stop Ty at one point. That's like you got to stop smoking. You can't be smoking cigs, deep into your 30s and 40s. You got to stop that.
I've weighed the same.
You do, trust me.
I've weighed 190 pounds since freshman year of high school, pretty much.
You're only 25. Just wait. That
that
metabolism will slow down.
You should see my mom.
Your body will revolt. It just will.
She hasn't worked out a day in her life, and she is skinny, and she only eats fast food. And drinks
Is your mother?
Yeah, and drinks like a case of Diet Dr. Pepper every day. And she is
okay.
She looks like she does CrossFit every day. I don't know. I might have it in my genes. Who knows?
It's in the genes.
It might be in the genes.
Go ahead and live by that. That's good. Go ahead and run with that.
Okay.
No, don't do it, Ty. Take better care of yourself.
He's confident.
The next generation is supposed to be better than the previous one. Take better care of yourself.
Oh, look at this. For those who don't live in Texas, please get Whataburger. See, there you go.
Whataburger's legit.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah, you says you must get the red beans and rice at
Popeyes.
Popeyes.
That Popeyes chicken sandwich is on point, though. He's right about that. Whoever protects that in. That's a good one.
Zaxby's salads are good. I'm not getting a salad if I'm going fast food. That is it. This says National Fast Food Day. Mike McCarthy calls it Christmas.
Big Mac.
Look at you guys. They're coming in too fast. Thank you very much. I am going to do one. I'll tell you. I'll report back. Well, I'm taking all the suggestions.
If you want a chicken sandwich, then Chick-fil-A is probably your best bet for a chicken
sandwich. I'm not doing chicken. I'm going all in. I'm going beef. I'm doing something I've never done before.
Okay, good for you.
And somebody mentioned the Whataburger patty melt, which I've never done before. That might be good. That's a change of pace.
Interesting.
Right now, the leaders are Popeyes on National Fast Food Day, as you suggested, and or the Whataburger patty melt.
You've never had a patty melt either. This is criminal.
No.
Yeah, I thought who used to have a good pat? Oh, you know who has a good random? Jack in the Box actually has a decent sourdough Jack used to be my go-to back in the day. Oh, I used to love me that sourdough. Well, that was one of my go-to fast food places. They used to have the dollar menu with the 2 tacos for 99 cents. They still got that, Ty? 2 tacos, and they deep fry that whole damn taco. They deep fry Oh man, Jack in the Box, Jack in the Crack used to be one of my spots.
It's that is not meat in those tacos, though. I can tell you that much. I've enjoyed them a few times as well. It's like it looks like bean paste.
Don't look at it. Don't look at the taco.
I will confirm that I used to have Jack in the Box in college. We used to go one near our apartment.
No doubt.
And that would be on the way home at 2 a.m. They just give you this box of crap.
Oh, it's great.
And we'd take it home, and there'd be tacos and wrapped up whatever.
Yeah.
We just eat it.
Jack in the Box is you're right. It's great late night because their dollar menu used to be one of the best dollar menus out there.
That was our go-to.
Culver's.
On the budget.
Y'all ever had Culver's?
Culver's. That's not fast food, though. There's no drive-thru there, is there?
Yeah.
Because somebody made Taco Deli. Taco Deli doesn't have a drive-thru.
No, Culver's has a drive-thru. Brody, what is it? Brody and William Canyon?
Yeah, Brody, William Canyon. I know where that is.
I've never had Culver's though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
All right, let's continue to take those. We'll also talk to Jerry Hamilton bottom of the hour. But right now, it's Rod's rant, the first of 2 on this Thursday morning.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Find out what happens when people stop being polite and start getting real.
You ain't keeping it right.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Oh, you've done it now. It's time for Rod's Rant of the Day.
Hold on to your butts.
All right, now, yesterday we were talking about C.J. Stroud. Well, maybe it wasn't yesterday. Maybe it was earlier this week. We're talking about C.J. Stroud and him being in the MVP discussion, which right now he is. And some people think that's ridiculous as a rookie if he's in the MVP discussion. And we'll get to some of the numbers in a second after we play this audio. But my response for those who oppose him being in the MVP discussion is give me a player that should be ahead of him in the MVP discussion right now. And that's tough to do right now because he's playing so well. And there is no front runner really either. If there was a front runner, then I think Patrick Mahomes is probably going to end up being the front runner. But right now, just in the court of public opinion, there's not a true front runner for MVP. And C.J. Stroud is playing really well. He's a lock and a shoe-in for Rookie of the Year. That goes without saying. But I believe during that conversation, I think it was you, E, actually, that posed the question, would the Carolina Panthers have taken C.J. Stroud, right? Because Frank Reich reportedly liked C.J. Stroud, but the ownership, they really like Bryce Young. And the question was thrown out there, if the Texans would draft the number 1 overall, who would they have taken? They've taken C.J. Stroud, or they have drafted Bryce Young overall. John McClain, formerly of Cron.com, the general, who's pretty plugged in down there in H-Town, he has actually a response to that question, that hypothetical, because he threw it out there on an interview with the NFL Network. Here's John McClain talking about the Texans and what could have been.
Was there really any trepidation about drafting the Ohio State quarterback who, like you said, is the leader right now for the Offensive Rookie of the Year?
And he could be in the MVP conversation too. But I think, and they'll never admit this, if they'd had the number 1 pick, they would have taken Bryce Young, even though there were a lot of people out there who had Stroud rated over Bryce Young, and they didn't hesitate to take him 2nd overall. They never paid any attention to the S2 cognition test. They don't subscribe to it. They only went by what they saw, and D'Amico played a big role in it. He wanted Stroud. Casario said, all right, let's get him. They got him. Then they traded up with Will Anderson to get him as 3rd overall pick, and they still have picks left from the trade for Watson to Cleveland, so it's not like they're going to be destitute in the draft. But I think it was Young and then Stroud.
All right, there you go. John McClain saying if the Texans were picking, they would have picked Bryce Young first. And I'll tell you why I do believe that. First of all, John McClain's pretty plugged in. But number 2, and I've said this forever about quarterback evaluation and about quarterback acquisition and quarterback development. It's very rare that teams actually know what the hell they're doing when it comes to quarterback. They just don't. A lot of it is just straight up luck. It is the toughest position to predict, to project, and to evaluate, I think, in all of sports. It's actually one of the greatest mysteries in sports. Brock Purdy. It's one of the greatest. Tom Brady, right? It's one of the greatest mysteries in sport. It really is. And the thing, and you know this because think about Belichick and after they drafted Tom Brady, right? After Tom Brady became a Super Bowl winning quarterback. How many quarterbacks did they draft after that? Tons. Remember they drafted Rohan Davey after that? Cliff Kingsbury. They drafted Rohan Davey in the 4th round. Cliff Kingsbury in the 6th round. Matt Castle in the 7th round. Kevin O'Connell in the 3rd round. This is all while their Super Bowl winning quarterback is on the roster. They drafted Ryan Mallett, Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett. They kept drafting quarterbacks. Why? Because I know Belichick, people are questioning, his coaching greatness now and his legacy. But one thing he did figure out was, I lucked up on Tom Brady. We lucked up. We had no idea what the hell we were doing. He could have got picked by any 31 other teams because they had 5 other rounds to do it. And we decided, you know what? Let's take a flyer on this kid in the 6th round. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing when it comes to quarterback. I believe the late, great Bill Walsh said it. All right. Very few people can evaluate the quarterback position, and even fewer can develop the quarterback position. That's what it makes you a made man when you can do it. That's why, Sean McVay becomes a made man when he can develop a quarterback, right? The NFL hired Cliff Kingsbury just because he had a reputation for developing great quarterbacks, even after he failed as a head coach in college, because it makes you a made man, because it's the most valuable position, arguably, in sports. There's no question about it. In football, it is the great equalizer. And this is why I go back to the Dallas Cowboys, right? And I've said this plenty of times, right? The Cowboys have drafted tied for the fewest quarterbacks drafted since 1999. And the reason that is an organizational flaw is because the Cowboys haven't figured out this lesson that everybody else seems to have figured out, that Philadelphia has figured out. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing at quarterbacks, so keep drafting them and keep bringing them in, because you never know when one's going to hit in your system and work in your system. And we've seen now the resuscitation of quarterback skill sets. Jared Goff had given up on him. He's a bust, and then his skill set resuscitated. We've seen guys like Geno Smith. We've seen these stories now, Tua, where you can't just give up on a quarterback now, because if you get a quarterback in the right system with the right play caller, with the right quarterback nurturing, quarterback guru, it can click. And hell, even just changing the system to what Dak's doing right now. And with the Cowboys, and I've said this before about the Cowboys are easily the luckiest franchise in the NFL when it comes to quarterback in the last 20-something years. There's no doubt. Think about how many franchises have had a undrafted free agent quarterback become a franchise quarterback in the history of the NFL. It's like 3 of them, right? It's like Kurt Warner, maybe Warren Moon. You're talking about very special circumstances of an undrafted free agent becoming a franchise quarterback. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in the NFL. And the Cowboys, it happened with Tony Romo. Romo was a miracle. He actually was a miracle. And they didn't learn the lesson from it. And they drafted Dak Prescott. Remember, they wanted Connor Cook and Paxton Lynch. That could have been your quarterbacks. But they stumbled upon Dak. Dak was a happy accident. He was like Viagra. They didn't know they were making Viagra. They thought they were making a drug for cardiac health. All right? And they ended up stumbling upon the fact that, oh, actually, look what else it does. Let's do it. Let's do that. Let's make that the use of this drug, and let's call it Viagra. Boom. That's Dak. They stumbled upon Dak. He was a happy accident, and he ended up being the starting quarterback for them. Drafted in the 4th round. Remember, he was the 3rd string behind Kellen Moore and behind Romo. And I still don't think the Cowboys, now they're doing better at drafting quarterbacks, but I still don't think they learned the lesson. And the same lesson that the Texans, I think, have figured out too. Man, we lucked up on this kid. And you're always going to look up on quarterback. Yeah, your evaluation may help you for the most part, but most of this is just throwing blank at the wall and seeing if it sticks. And they're trying their best to make quarterback evaluation a scientific method. That's why they want to know how big are the hands, how tall is he, what's the velo on the throws, so that they can put all these data points in some algorithm and go, all right, he's going to be a great quarterback. Look at all the boxes he checks. And they're always wrong. They're always wrong because it's an inexact.